today, and we were wrong back then.
I'm very intrigued as to how Sobero is going to go. He's up against Doran, who has had some ups and downs, but it's mainly ups more recently.
Yeah.
And I have really enjoyed T1's draft reads. I think that has been one of the bigger improvements throughout this season, is them knowing what champions to take away. And getting rid of Atalia feels real nice. Champion is very, very strong. Setting Faker up for a potential first pick Azir, as the Vi and the Gwen both taken away. I think a last ban on the Azir would be a good idea. And so getting rid of another top laner, I think, looks like the best option here for T1, because then they get either the Kalista or the Azir that they've been able to win through many times.
No big surprises thus far in the draft. Pantheon.
Okay.
Going to be valued above the Xin Zhao, which T1 are looking to B1 Xin Zhao, right? I know the champion got nerfed, but Owner has been our best in. Really, I think Owner's first bad series was against Gen G. Not the first time, but the second time. Like, yeah. Did get got by Canyon. Is that really something that's shameful? No, it's Canyon. But he was definitely, before that, the one player that we didn't have any notes on for T1. Doesn't mean that I think they will stop prioritizing his Xin, as the Azir ban does come through. We talked about this earlier. Azir does still command a good amount of respect when it's specific players playing it. Faker's one of those is a B1 Victor. Now, there's many ways to interpret this. I'm not the biggest fan. I feel like the Victor is solid. We know that Faker really likes it, but giving over Xin Zhao,
yeah, and
ending
also
up having to play into like a Xin Zhao Ahri or Xin Zhao Sylas is not something I'm super excited about.
Another thing BNK can do is lock Xin Zhao Kalista. And
yes, and there's no Talia.
And there's
only
no
Poppy.
Yeah, there's no Talia, but then you also get to last pick your support in theory in that moment, right? So it forces T1 to pick away Renata and then get Nico.
Yep.
This is the only way that you can actually orchestrate that.
I'd say in that scenario, T1 are just going to straight up pick Nico.
Well, yeah, that's what they'd have to do.
Oh, so they pick Nico.
Oh, okay. Actually, it's like the one up.
I love that, because now, if they would want to go towards the Kalista, they find themselves in the same scenario, right? Where they can't really go with Renata, because Nico is such a good matchup. And Nico originally came up as a Renata counter. I do think we've just gotten to the point where she's just good. She's a good support. Particular players play her really well. Peter is always our go-to example. And Keria is going to say, I don't care that it's a counter matchup. I will be playing this. And it's what, like Varus is one we often see?
Draven. Just Draven and Diablo. Don't be scared.
I wouldn't mind that.
You got this. He's shaking in his chair.
Well, if you get a front line as well with Xin, you can go for a good old protect the Draven comp.
I'm into it. Oh, Ezreal is so not Draven. This is the most not Draven you can possibly be.
It is way safer, because you can just not opt into the early 2v2s.
But it makes me very disappointed.
No, I know. I was expecting at least the Varus, but really I was hoping for the Draven. Got me excited for that, Atlas.
Yeah, me too.
A little disappointing.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to everyone who thought that we were going to get some Draven. We did not get Draven.
Can't always get what you want.
No. Good song, though.
Yep.
It's okay. Let's see some bands come through. The Skarner is going to be a big sigh of relief breathed for all T1 fans.
Yeah, Owner on Skarner, I don't think it's really what you want to see. So we have Wukong still open. We've seen the rise of Trundle, which I'm okay with. I don't think Trundle is that amazing, but I do think that he has drafts where he can really pop off. I don't think either team should look to play him here, though, because with against Kalista, it's fine. Against Ezreal, obviously, doesn't do that much.
Yep.
So I hope that isn't something that they're thinking about. It does have a good matchup. The Xin Zhao, though, with the setup that is there thus far, if you do go for Wukong, your 2v2 mid-jungle does become a little spooky. Yeah, it's not that strong. It's just going to be the Sejuani taken away for Owner instead. Now, Sejuani Victor, not really a crazy 2v2, but again, it's mostly about what can Owner do for the team, right?
And you can also follow up with Sejuani Jax in the last two spots here for T1, and that would have looked pretty good as a rounding out of the composition. Galio going to be taken away. Galio Xin Zhao needs no introduction either. And so let's see what Diablo is going to be locking down. We're expecting a mid lane here, and then counter pick for top lane. Make sure Sobero is in the best position possible.
Because they're really I think T1 wants them to pick Jace. Because I'm looking at that Sion ban, and that's a very clear sign that if you don't pick it, we are going to. The Annie to come, I kind of love that. It's just a very, very straightforward upfront burst composition, incredible amount of point and click.
The follow-up to a
Disaster.
Tibbers as well is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
The Pop Blossom and everything like that really does work out. As Nocturne, so the last of the more offensive junglers that are at the top of the meta would be the option here. Yorick going to be the consideration first, though, as Doran going to be playing mainly for the side lane. And I think when you do see a wombo combo composition like this, Naviri's still up. What the heck? Okay, there you go. That's definitely an option here for Owner, as he has been so much better at more of the offensive junglers. They don't have a true tank now in any way.
I like the Nocturne
Nor will they
more.
have it here.
Because I'm just looking at the T1 comp, to me, it's a little all over the place, right? There are parts that want to team fight, there are parts that want to go for early skirmishes, there's some kite back. Now, you're playing Renata Victor into a short-range composition. That I think you're always going to be happy about. Is he going to play like Gangplank or something? I'm seeing this man smile.
He is giggling a lot.
Oh, do it.
Okay.
Do it. It's the read. Yes!
Yes, there it is. Not a pirate. Instead, he's gone for a Viking. And he's just going to be yelling bro. I love this. A champion that yells bro all the time after a bro victory earlier today. I've heard of Jaedong as being referred to as JD, and I haven't seen him in a BNK jersey before.
We got to tell the people.
Oh my God. So this is like the GOAT. One of the GOATs. He's not Flash, of course. Flash is a little bit too much the GOAT, but kind of similar to Faker. We'll go into that immediately after we get onto the Rift.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Onto the Rift for T1 versus BNK FEARX.
First things first.
Yes.
Jaedong.
So
I don't know enough about StarCraft 1 to really say to certainty. I know he's one of the greatest Turks of all time. Is he the greatest Turks of all time?
I think so. I think
we have Wolf on the. I'm sure. Wolf
yeah, we have Wolf there.
us.
As far as StarCraft 1 is concerned, it was always Flash versus Jaedong. Like that is just how it went. And it was Terran versus Zerg, and it was just those two. That was like the whole story, and it was amazing every single time.
I was also, although he didn't quite have the same level of performance, a big fan of him when he was on the EG StarCraft 2 team, because he came back and played a bunch of StarCraft 2 as well. Yep. And I just remember the signing, and I was like, oh my God, this guy has pure aura. He was fine. It wasn't anything crazy.
Well, he has actually been playing in, I believe he was playing in the ASL for a really long, like StarCraft 1, by the way, guys, still exists. People play it all the time. It's casted by Tasteless and Artosis if you ever want to go and watch it. And it's still going. Flash is still playing, or at least was up until very recently. And so we have actually, some relatively recent tape of StarCraft 1. Thankfully, the graphics got updated, and so it doesn't feel like as much of a chore to watch.
I'm kind of wondering about the Olaf as well, because I know with Olaf ult you can, if I'm 99% you can run through a Zero wall. So I'm kind of wondering if it works for the Ghoulie wall as well. We're definitely going to find out in this game.
I don't think you can run through things.
Well, I'm pretty sure you can run through the Azir.
Oh,
with Ragnarok. Also, it would
because the Azir ult isn't terrain until it's stopped. I don't think.
No, but I think you.
I think there's a weird coding.
Well, we're about to find out, right? Because we're definitely going to see it, and it also would make way more sense for me, because I feel like otherwise your window of being effective into Yorick is so small.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
so we're going to find out.
I'm looking forward to seeing whether it is actually the case, because I could be completely wrong. I'm just pretty sure you can trap the Viking in a cage, as you cannot trap him in a top lane.
Is he just?
He is just he's ghosting. He's ghosting. We're killing him right now. As he'll land the undertow and down goes Faker. There is nowhere he can go. He knew he couldn't flash. Vikla almost dies for it and has to sacrifice his flash, but that's first blood over to BNK.
Now that's the way to make an entrance, Atlas.
Doran's like, I'm in my band. I'm only the bass player, dude. Like, what am I going to do?
Just come in. Pick Olaf.
We could have had a pentakill top lane as well. It would have been so cool. Because Olaf has a pentakill skin as well.
That's bro talent, right? He doesn't even play the bro skin, by the way.
Yeah, no, he needs to be playing Brolaf, actually, but he doesn't. Yep, Sobro just calling out the timings. Says we got him. Man, this guy's... He's got some vibes. He is helping out. As now we've got to dive towards the bottom side of the map. That bailout is not happening as Kellen will go down. It is a 1-for-1 sacrifice. As Owner will come on over and catch this wave. But Gumayushi, he's not going to be getting the experience for that one. As T1 kind of getting ran around in this early game. Of course, it's early days, right? And this is a composition that does have some scaling elements, largely in this mid lane.
Yeah, but it's
I mean, it's
like
still a
Guma,
Kalista comp.
Well, yeah, Guma, well, yeah, so Kalista to me is one of those interesting characters where I feel like her scaling really depends on what the opponent have. And I do think eventually you can reach a point where like Carrier's ult does enough. If he goes for the kills as well, you can counteract a lot. But if your Kalista does start falling behind early, and Raptor, as he should in this matchup, is going to just try and maximize his early impact, right? Do as much as possible while the Nocturne doesn't have ult, and Nocturne's early power level outside of specifically dueling just isn't that impressive as
Sobro just inside the ghoulie wall and just having a good time.
By the way, he hasn't spent his money yet.
Okay, he's still having a great time in this lane, as we can see.
Yeah, Olaf's his base stats are
not bad. Not bad. Does have a decent amount of being able to stay alive as well in the kit, although it's not really working against a bunch of ghouls. The Morning Mist may need to be used here, as, yep, that's just a solo kill for Doran. So
that's challengers, baby!
And Chronicler, I'd like to introduce you to this concept that we like to call a caster curse.
I know what you're talking about. I think that is peak debut challengers experience right there.
Well, as you did previously allude to, he was sitting on a bunch of money. And so he goes back, he buys himself a Phage, teleports towards that top side of the map. And Faker putting on some pressure here in the mid lane as well. As Vikla may just die as the Arcane Storm comes through. Faker is going to get killed by Tibbers because Tibbers gets real mad after Annie goes down. So a 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane. As I guess it actually works out for BNK because Vikla is going to have his flash back up earlier than Faker does.
Yeah, with the flash and the fact you trade 1-for-1, that's a trade up. Like playing into Annie in particular, Faker will be in serious trouble. Also opens up the possibility for this mid lane play, and Vikla died earlier. I think this Dragon is just going over to BNK, and BNK's early game actually looking great. Outside of, Sobro getting solo killed.
I mean,
that part was...
When it comes to, like, Olaf play, I think getting solo killed here or there is kind of just how it works, yeah. It just, sometimes you remember that you don't have Ghost, and you just went for a bad trade. It's either all or nothing. Who is, like, so far in the LCK, who do you reckon is the most iconic Olaf player? Because for me, I always remember Peanut. It's Peanut for me, man. And not even for like good things either a lot of the time. Of course, Tarzan was the one that brought over the redemption tech.
I just love redemption Olaf. It's such a dumb thing.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
That was Kanavi, right? Came up with it?
I think Kanavi was the one that, and Tarzan then brought it to the LCK. That's what I heard, at least. So with these things, it's also like, it's so hard to actually track this, because you just hear that at some point. It's like, is that real info? Probably, maybe?
It would have been really cool if the maiden that you had from the Pentakill Yorick skin was like just very clearly Iron, or just an Iron Maiden that just hovered, so that it's a reference to Iron Maiden. I just feel like that'd be metal.
It would be cool.
She's not, though, as we can see here. Doran is now in a little bit of trouble, ladies and gentlemen. The reckless swing, there's the shot. This is exactly how Olaf wants to play the game. And that is killing you and dying.
That's peak right there.
I don't know if it's good for Sobro, but he is doing stuff that he wants to do. As all right, True Shot Barrage is going to soften up these Void Grubs. Carrier's going in. Pop Blossom's coming down as well, though the Fate's Call needs to be invested. My God, those Tangle Barbs were so good. As now Vikla is going to try and take down Gumayushi, but he gets bailed out of that one. Owner down to 100 health, and Faker is looking to clean this one up. Kellen, not a whole lot he can do in this instance, and T1 win themselves the fight.
Straight up out-executed. Gets BNK there. T1 playing it just a little bit cleaner. Not quite sure what happened there. Fight looked a little disjointed for BNK. The call to go for the fight, I think, is understandable. But the fact that Guma does actually get the bailout is huge.
Oh, yeah. And Vikla finding himself a little bit out of position in that one as well. We're going to have a look at this replay first, though, as Sobero does that thing where he says, I'm going to run at you and hit you with axes and stuff, and then I'm dead.
If he had mana, he might have been able to live with he didn't get to use his W. So just a little bit of health could have been the difference maker, as I think Owner got that one. So the setup to this fight is not too clean, but they're up on ultimate, right? They should win this. Then the ultimate comes through from Nico, but watch Guma here. Actually stays alive for long, and then Vikla goes for the kind of desperation play. And that is what ends up being his demise. He doesn't need to play that fast.
Yeah.
He plays it slow, he just holds there. Guma was so low that you could actually realistically wait it, and Diablo had sums. Diablo still was in a position to fight.
It was a bit of a rush of blood to the head situation here as Raptor, possible angle here, but Carrier turns up, great handshake. As Vikla going to be held in position. Gravity Field not going to really be doing too much.
Yeah.
But you can feel the pressure now that T1 are exerting. And they will be able to do this, right? Like, this 4-1 composition is so scary with the fact that you turn the lights off and kill someone in the side lane. Doran then goes completely nuts, takes all of your stuff, and they never have to worry about the wombo combo because they're not really going to be trying to team fight you. As a possible fear here onto Raptor. Diablo is moving over, though, and Kellen's in position. Carrier finally gets here, and Owner is playing super far up. Some aggressive play out of the man, as the Crab going to move back towards T1.
They're about to be a member up. I don't know about this for BNK.
A little bit dicey here as the Maiden comes down. Doran gets involved a little bit early, though, as now the Paranoia comes in. They look to just get rid of this Xin Zhao as quickly as possible, and Wind doesn't have time to become Lightning because he's dead. Kellen now doing his very best to survive, but he's going to get smoked down where he stands, and it's a double kill for Owner. Another one going over to Doran as he takes down Diablo. And it is going from bad to worse, as yes, Ragnarok doesn't get you out of the ghoulie wall, as it turns out. And so Sobero is...
just gonna die?
Possibly just dead. Yeah, the Morning Mist is gonna be able to slow him down. And there is the kill onto the Olaf. And man, it was such a great start for BNK. Let's focus on that.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
Didn't last very long. We're 11 minutes in, Atlas. T1 has 11 kills.
Yeah.
So
Kill a minute pace. You love to see it.
they are down a member here. And the TP actually is nice. TP comes through before the ultimate. But really Raptor's in this fight, which is why the rest of the backline just gets completely obliterated. And then here Vikla and Sobero kind of not on the same page. This Victor pick is just paying so much dividends. Because the reason why Vikla can't join Sobero, by the way, is because the Victor W is there. So he just has to walk slowly as Annie towards the Victor and the Renata, which isn't really going to do anything.
Yeah.
By the time Sobero gets there, the fight has already been lost. Now it's a 4K gold deficit. And I don't know if BNK just have the raw stats to get through T1 anymore.
And the problem is they have a composition that relies on raw stats. If
Well,
you
yeah,
don't manage to kill someone in the time that Annie and Nico can hold them in position, you just don't kill them.
It's a bit of a mid-diff. Because Annie, to me, is one of those picks into Victor where you're like, you have very specific windows where you can obviously bully him. But also, if you do fall behind, isn't that just the worst matchup imaginable? Because, like, you don't get to trade, you don't have range, and they've had either Carrier or Owner just continuously hovering
I would
him.
say that Faker is in trouble, but he's not. True Shot Barrage is going to snag him, but there's the Paranoia. Vikla may be in trouble, But that is...
Turn?
Yeah, the turn is going to come on through here. As Ona taking a lot of damage. Pop Blossom holds him in place. He does get a kill. Before that even happens, though, as the bailout not quite able to work here as the Ghoulie Wall also not quite happening. And there's Sobero, ladies and gentlemen. It's the double, and now Diablo trying to get amongst it. Faker throws down the gravity field, says no to the rest of this fight. But BNK, they're back on the board.
That was a 1 for 4! How did that happen?
I have absolutely no idea. We were just like signing the obituary.
Yep.
Oh wait, that means once again we cast a cursed it. And we have to stop doing this. Sorry T1 fans this time around for having that conversation about the fact that T1 is so far ahead.
We set up this play, but T1 respond nicely. Faker does tank another. It's the re-engage here that really doesn't hit the mark. Owner goes in.
And Carrier's bailout timing was fantastic as well. So like that allowed Owner to stay alive, get the kill.
And then here, they don't get a reset. And Sobero is just running, and no one has damaged. Actually, even Victor this early on isn't really going to do enough to the Olaf, right? And he's in the fight for a large part. Because again, he had to kind of leave when Annie ulted him, and then they took the Ezreal as well. Will this change the outcome of the game? Most likely no, but I do love that BNK just keep being BNK. Because guess what? They're going to take like 5 more of those skirmishes. And it doesn't matter if they work or not, because look at that! Look at that goal graph!
Yeah, that is flattening, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what you want to see if you're a BNK fan. You don't want to see this, as Sobero does have a scary ghoulie guy hovering, but it is not going to be paranoia time here for Ona. As Raptor rotating over, that health bar is starting to look a little bit healthier as first items are completing. Owner has become a Hexblader, by the way. How do we feel about that?
I think Hexblade is good.
Oh, you a Hexblader as well?
Well, like the extra movement speed and attack on your ult is good, no? If you're Nocturne?
I mean, yeah, it does make some sense, but, you know, Stride Break is a pretty powerful item if you can get in amongst it, as Vikler is now dead, ladies and gentlemen. Doran is going to just allow his Maiden to kill him. Look at this! It's an NPC battle in the bottom lane, but the NPC is now alone.
Okay, I think that's mean to say about Vikler. Okay, he hasn't been playing super well, but let's be...
Tibbers and the Maiden, I'll have you know, Chronicler.
I know, I just wanted to see her respond.
That was a bit toxic.
It's a bit nefarious.
It was a bit nefarious. You have definitely gotten a little bit more edgy, Chronicler, in your time here.
For my standards, yes. As
we're going to have a look at it again. Look, and Doran's actually cheating because he has more NPCs. And he can make them...
Yeah, it's not quite fair. And then Annie, obviously, once you get caught in the Ghoulie Wall, you just kind of die, and there's not really anything you can do. Nicely done by Doran. Good trap. I say trap, he just stood in the brush.
Yeah.
And then...
I mean, it was still a trap. It just wasn't a very interesting one.
Yeah, it was pretty bare bones. Yeah, Vikler's struggle, unfortunately, continues. This Olaf is still up gold, technically.
Yep.
So that's nice.
I mean, Vikler is only down 600 gold, and he's down 40 CS, right? So...
Could be worse.
It could be way worse.
Could be worse.
Could. So not the end of the world or anything like that. It's just getting close.
Oh, we're fighting on the power spike.
Okay.
So there's a second item.
Rift Herald might be the moment here. They can then use that to try and make this map a little bit smaller for T1.
Their team fight is still really strong. I think T1's too late.
Yeah, Kellen standing in a pretty good position here as the handshake does come through, but that is just a dead Rift Herald as the teleport brought Sobero in. He's looking for a flank angle here. He gets into the brush. That does give T1 all the information here as the Ghoulie Wall goes down to make things annoying. Carrier continuing to find these handshakes.
Got a poke. They're playing for...
Oh, it's really smart from T1. They're just trying to create some space here as they go in onto Ona, and the Pop Blossom finds everyone! The bailout comes down yet again. They do kill the Nico, though, and so Ona stays alive for a long time into the backline. Goes the Olaf, but he's unable to get on top of Gumayushi. He uses those summoner spells so beautifully. And I was about to say T1 just had the positional advantage around that mid lane, and they utilize it so beautifully to just say no to BNK. They're going to look for even an inner turret off the back end of this as well. Oh man, I feel like they took so much from BNK just going for a desperation engage.
Killing Owner is nice, but that's not really what the goal of the composition is for BNK. You need to take down the 2 consistent damage dealers, and I think they tunnel an Owner, and this initial setup, this is great. Again, imagine if they play this a little slower. Because by the time Sobro actually gets on top of Guma, the rest of the team is already taken so low. No one can follow up the damage on Guma, and he just gets to hop out.
Yep.
And then the chase.
Still had his flash, so it wasn't under enough threat at the beginning of the fight.
Yep. And then Vikla, Diablo obviously not able to really do. Doran showing the power of Teamfight Yorick.
Teamfight, like Hullbreaker Yorick. You love to see it. Like you can take the Doran out of the build, but you can't take him off the Rift. He will still just go for the team fights. And he's finding it once again. Carrier up here alongside him. Let's see whether Doran and the Maiden can survive as the bailout does come in. The health bar is not going to quite be low enough though, as Diablo gets close, to be perfectly honest. Owner on the cross map is going to be taking the second dragon for T1, as the Rift Herald does deal with this top outer turret. Still actually a bit of a help here for BNK. Outside of the fact that they lose the dragon, they may be able to get another charge. As you can see here, they do manage to collect it, so half health on the inner turret top lane. Still, it feels like everything's kind of a trade down at this point in time, as they're 3.5k gold behind.
Nice pick inside. I don't think they can realistically fight towards bot side of the map, so this is the best you're going to get. Kalen actually clips him. That sets up more than enough damage. We do see the bailout value continuing to be found there, because Diablo does actually almost die. A couple of stray autos, and that would have been enough to take him down.
So you've got 2 items on everyone outside of Carrier on T1. A couple of items have come through for, you know, a few of the players on BNK, namely Sobro and Raptor. But Vikla still pretty far behind. Diablo still looking for that 2-item spike. And T1 in a really good spot this stage of the game. True Shot Barrage will land onto Gumayushi, but he is still very happy.
I know, so he does Roto Aegis, but that's still a level 1.5.
I'm going to go with a golly on that one. I'm going to give it a golly.
Oh golly, oh geez.
Oh darn. Yeah, it's a bit of that. It's just not exactly Vikla's time at this point. And the Annie, the comeback mechanics, not that many of them.
Oh yeah, Flash ult. That's a classic.
I mean, I guess you're basically support Annie.
All you need.
So you need Kellen to be fed or something like that. As he is going to find the flash stun onto Faker. Arcane Storm comes down. He does flash away and puts everyone into the gravity field and says, nah.
That's a good trade.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Get the flash. Oh, Sobro loses interest on camera.
Well, yeah, he's not that young. He's still a zoomer, you know? He's like, I don't have time for that. I'm not going to chase.
Well, he also probably saw the red dots heading towards his bottom inner turret, and he's going to head on over and grab that.
He also wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to actually catch him there.
His ghost is coming off now-ish.
Now.
Yeah. We knew that it was. We just really wanted it to speed up.
Because I was talking about it speeds it up. Because observation is important.
Yeah, it's just, it was never going to be the nows that we said at the beginning.
It's very deep. It's never the nows you think.
It's always the last now. Okay, Sobro, speaking of which, is going to be standing in this brush. Carry taking a bit of damage, does have to heal to get that extra speed. The speed, in fact, going to allow him to get out of the tangle barbs. That's good news. As T1 just want to grab some crab. They will be able to do that. Okay, mid lane's facing off here in the brush.
No flash.
Raptor turns up. This time around, maybe there's an option, but the rest of T1, they get in position. The handshake's gorgeous. Faker just going to walk his way out. BNK thinking that they got enough buttons to take down this Archon. Let's see whether that is indeed the case. As Vikla, he can go back, teleport in. BNK looking for the turn immediately though, as we can see, hostile takeover. Gonna find only Raptor as the goalie wall is gonna lock up Sobro. He's now looking to run his way out as the Maiden is chasing them all down. And T1, they do get them off the Archon. Is this enough to get the objective for themselves?
I don't know about doing it themselves. They feel confident. Faker is back with full health. The zone control is decent.
It's a 6v6 now as well. Tithers and the Maiden getting amongst it, and BNK, they're just not going to go for it. They don't have the confidence, and the Archon just going to go over to T1.
Was a little worried when I saw that TP, but Carrier ensures, together with Owner, that operation make sure Doran doesn't get instantly blown up is a success.
Yeah.
Actually gets out, and then with Faker TPing back in as well, able to set down the poke. And the zone control, obviously, for T1 is incredible, right? Between the ghouls and the lasers and the giant force field, it's hard to actually get through once you lose control of a position, unless you fully commit. It's much easier said than done. And BNK, who's in the Otacon now as well, it's not quite over. There is still no flash on Faker, which is big, but Kuma has his sums back up.
Yeah.
Makes the fight a lot harder to play out.
He's now just trying to get this mid-wave in order. As we can see, he will be successful in that one. Carrier just trying to get some control over this dragon area, which is going to be the battlefield that we're looking for as Diablo finding an angle. Gumi, oh, proccing the W as well.
That might be second dragon for BNK here.
Yeah, especially considering going to be without a Callista. That being said, he is actually taking the Wolves instead. Diablo trying to do it one more time as Faker. If at first or second you don't succeed, try again. And unfortunately, don't try again, because it never really works here, ladies and gentlemen. Owner, though, is going low. Carrier bails himself out, but it's not quite going to work as it's a 1-for-1 trade. Vikla, unfortunately, just doesn't have the health bar to survive in these fights. And Doran is just taking the base.
It's still kind of a window. Oh, they're not going to go for... I thought they were going to actually go for Dragon. There's no TPs. I think they could have. Instead, they're looking for the collapse onto Doran, who is going to trade his life for an inhib, which I think you're not too sad about. If you can turn it into Dragon.
Well, let's see what he can actually find here as he's going to flash. There's a blast cone.
Never mind.
Never mind. A-OK.
Really felt like they could have gotten him from more angles and probably killed him.
And the Maiden even absorbed a flash? Sorry, a smite? It said flash, that was being silly. He absorbed a smite from Raptor. Crazy value. Here from the Yorick, who's just going to keep pushing here in the mid lane. The inhibitor just kind of went. And this is the problem, right? This is Hullbreaker Yorick. He does not want to be in your skirmishes or side lanes. And the more T1 gets away with these fights, the quicker they're just gonna win. You can see damage dealt by Doran absolutely gigantic. 4,000 above the closest, which is Faker. My goodness. 3 items done. Steric's Gauge completed as item number 3. And yeah, T1, I think there's, like, if it's not critical mass now, it's getting close. This has been a fun game, though. This has been a much more fun game than I was expecting.
I was expecting a blowout. That's the kind of the BNK special, though. I feel like they always go out in style. They do go out a lot because they're 5-9.
And it's not even necessarily in style, but it is on their own terms. That is definitely a fact. That's all right. Dragon going to be secured. That is Soul Point going over to T1. 1.5k the lead for Doran. 1.5 also the lead for Ona.
I also really like his choice for Phase Rush into Olaf specifically. It's not something we really talked about too much, but obviously not the normal rune you go. On Yorick, I've seen mostly Conquer. I want to say a Grasp or 2 as well, but not going to be the case here. And allows you to actually
I feel like you'd get a bit more sticky. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that as well, but I think it's also allows you to
run away.
See early on, right?
Yeah, the idea is have short trades against Olaf. Olaf, generally, if you stay around him, he kills you.
Did see that. Third item now done for Guma. There is the Terminus now finished for him. Death Stance as well for Sober, which I do think is quite good. Faker has not gone for a very damage-oriented build. Right, we're looking at Zhonya's third. So between the Mercs and then Roa and then Cosmic Drive, it's hard, really hard to take him down. And he will be doing a good job of kiting his, oh my god.
Oh,
the little ghoul that could. Come on.
Get him, get him, get him. Get in.
Hey!
There he is. He's like, I'm finished. I only wanted to kill your brother.
No!
Unfortunately, you're going to get taken down by
He did get his revenge.
He did. The revenge of the Merc Wolf. All right, Vikla, let's do it. Doran doesn't get stunned, though. And he just wanders out of range. He places Sobero in a circle, and now he's just looking to kill him. There he goes. Vikla now in not a bit of trouble. He's dead. Yeah, Doran is way too large. Now T1 should be able to take themselves a Baron because Doran just like 1v2 double kills.
He's going to end the game.
Yeah, all that.
He's going to... Raptor can steal.
Yeah, does it matter though is the question. The Smite is not even required because the Rend is what secures it. Down goes this Xin Zhao, and Kellen in this side lane will not be able to do anything to Olaf. Yeah, Diablo is going to get back to base, but I think a lot of him wishes he didn't. As, yeah, he's on the fountain, but the Maiden does not care about your fountain. And Doran doesn't care about your Nexus. He's going to kill that, and T1 going to win game 1.